Hello, wherever you are in the world. We are so glad that you joined us. I'm Christine Barnhart, your host for Supply Chain Unfiltered. This is where we take a candid look at the challenges that supply chain professionals face and bring in forward thinkers and innovators to share their insights on strategies, technologies, and collaborative efforts that are shaping the future of supply chain. So please take a moment before we get started and let me know where you're located today by posting in the chat. So for me, I am once again in Evansville, Southern Indiana. Can you believe it? Like 2 episodes in a row right here in my home office in Middle America. So please let me know where you're from. Check in. We definitely love seeing repeat podcast listeners. Also, if you have any questions or comment, please use the chat and we will make our best effort to respond. You guys are stuck with me in my glasses today. I'm feeling a little less than my normal self and my eyes just hurt. So you're just stuck with the glare. I'm sorry. So it is now time for us to welcome our first guest for today, which is Chris Nimietz from MSI Express. Welcome, Chris. We are so excited to have you.
No, I'm excited to join and to be a part, and honored that I get to spend 30 minutes with you here having a good chat about supply chain.
It'll be fun, I promise. I'm normally nice.
I know.
So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do at MSI Express?
So I'm the director of supply chain at MSI Express. We are a co-manufacturer, co-packer who works primarily with Fortune 50 to 500 CPGs and emerging brands. We have 14 sites in 6 states across the U.S. And have a multitude of capabilities, but mostly in the dry pack and liquid space is where we spend a lot of our time.
Okay, so if I was like describe, I know you may not be able to tell us who the brands are that you work for, but if I'm a customer and I go to the grocery store, what aisles should I go down to find a product that MSI produces?
So you'll find us, we are the largest stick pack manufacturer in North America. So you'll find us in the stick pack aisle on a pretty heavy regular basis.
And if I'm a novice and I don't know what a stick pack means, what is that?
It's the little stick with the blended sugar drink that you would dump in your water bottle or your Stanley or whatever your mug or drink carrier of choice is today.
Very cool.
So we spend a lot of time. We've got a couple centers of excellence across our portfolio that handle the vast majority of our stick packs. You'll find us in the dry goods section. So mostly you'll find us in the cup section. You'll find us in pet food. You'll find us in pet treats. You'll find us in club stores doing some repacks. You'll find us doing some snacks, some candies. You'll find us a little bit in a lot of different places in the grocery store for sure. But again, mostly in the dry goods section. And then we do, again, as I stated, some liquid capabilities as well. So a couple of your favorite morning beverage facilities of choice, we do some blending for some of the drinks that you may order from those facilities as well.
That is awesome. I mean, I have to admit, before I came to Newlogy 2 years ago, I had no idea who MSI Express was. It's been so interesting to kind of see the depth and breadth of the products that you manufacture and package for just various brands across the spectrum. So welcome. We are so glad. Where are you located at? Are you in Northern Indiana?
So I am office when I'm at home. I'm in Illinois, just outside of the Chicago area. I'm actually calling in today from our plant in Grand Prairie, Texas, just outside of Dallas.
Nice.
Spending the week down here and helping the team out a little bit, and they're helping me more than I help them. So
I mean, it's August in Texas, so I'm not going to ask you if it's hot enough for you.
I know it's a little too hot. It was 110 yesterday, 108 the day before, and you can feel it for sure outside the building. But
Well, we have Mark joining us from Phoenix, and I don't know. He might say it's not the heat, it's the humidity, right?
Something like that. It's just hot for me after anything over 99 is just it's hot. I don't care if it's humid. It's nasty.
Well, welcome to the show. Welcome, Mark. We're happy to have you here from Phoenix. Somebody from Kansas City, Sarah from Let's Talk Supply Chain has joined us. Not sure if she's in Toronto or somewhere else in the world, but we're super excited to have everybody here today for the show. So, Chris, I know you're the director of supply chain. Having had similar roles in the past, I don't know that I envy you. So what are some of the things that keep you up at night that you're, worried about, or that, you just, keeps you up, makes you anxious?
I'd say the primary thing is making sure that we continue to put the right tools and resources in front of our people on a day in, day out basis to be successful, and continuing to stay as lockstep as possible with our customers and have that line of sight that a lot of co-manufacturers sometimes don't have. And I think we're part of, to your point, Christine, being with Nulogy a couple of years ago and not knowing who we were and now knowing who we are. Right, we're one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. We're in the top 5,000 fastest growing organizations, and we don't do that without having perpetual and constant communication with our customers and having an understanding of what they're looking to do, and making sure that as I mentioned, tools, resources, whether it's technology or a machine or some piece of software or something that we need to do to make sure that we're connected with our customers and keeping our finger on that pulse first and foremost, is always important, because as one of my coworkers is a big hockey fan. We're always looking to be where the puck is going to be, not where it's been, right? And we have to keep our finger on the pulse of where we're at, but also continue to drive to where we believe that puck is going to be on the hockey rink. And so we're always moving and shaking. But for me, that's, I'd say, our biggest, the thing that keeps me up at night. Whether it's in the planning process, through procurement or purchasing, making sure that we're setting up operations from a supply chain perspective to be successful, or on the back end warehousing and distribution side, right? It's making sure that all those folks across the entirety of our network are set up for success.
Nice. So, about a year ago, Laura Ciceri from Supply Chain Insights did some research and came out with some data that showed that about 30% of what's actually at shelf from a brand perspective is outsourced. It's produced by contract manufacturers and contract packagers. And there's a lot of data that says that percentage is only expected to grow over the next several years. So as a leading contract manufacturer kind of in this space, what are you doing to capitalize on that opportunity for growth?
Yeah, I'd say we look at it in a few different perspectives, right? You've got your CPGs who may have their own assets or equipment, and sometimes that may or may not be a little bit more of a challenge. They're not going to go away, and sometimes depending on the organizational philosophy, it's some folks may want to divest their asset base or not, and where we find those opportunities, and as we continue to grow, right, the growth we've had is kind of unprecedented for where we're at as an organization, but it ties back to collaboration with our customers on other verticals and other opportunities that we're able to potentially provide value in. One of the big things over the last few years, right, has been emerging brands and kind of those YouTube or social media sensations. And so what we find there is, our ability and the people we have in our network, internally, that help make things go. But those emerging brands are typically brand organizations without a lot of assets, and so we have the ability to come to the table and provide a solution from the planning and procurement side all the way through the make and the distribute side, and kind of bringing an all-in-one solution to those emerging brands who, have no assets or are asset light. And so we have a heavy focus there. We've got a massive focus on the private label side, which, may or may not be tied to either one of those two buckets, right? Whether it's an emerging brand or the CPG side. But on both of those sides, right, where we can play a lot is new innovation and risk from CPG. Most 85% of those new products typically fail in the first 2 to 3 years, and so that's where we can provide a lot of value, and we have the ability to be those test centers for those new products and those new items. And I think we do a really good job of, once we get our hands on something, we don't really let it go, because of the people and the success and the things that we can do on a day in, day out basis as an organization. And those three are the primary things we're looking to really capitalize, and we're just focusing on opportunities within the CPG arena, and emerging brands and private labels where we anticipate a lot of that growth coming from.
And, it's interesting, Chris, because 20, 30 years ago, when I was starting out in manufacturing, and we were doing a lot of outsourcing when I was at Whirlpool, generally it was because either A, we didn't feel like it was a core competency, or B, it was because we needed capacity that we didn't want to pay for like a whole line ourselves. But there's really been a shift in this market in the last several years, where companies like MSI are bringing innovation, and you're supporting products that have never been at market before, and enabling companies to really move to asset light operations, correct?
Absolutely. And I mean, we still see a little bit of exactly what you talked about, right? Of, hey, we have incremental volume that we might not have the internal capacity for. And that's where we play in that sandbox really well. And, our CEO is big on fast and agile. And that note is really, something that the organization strives on holistically. That's how we all work. We have to work fast and agile in this space. It's not, some of the vertically integrated companies, there's a little bit more sometimes red tape that you have to get things done. And for us, it's we pride ourselves on being quick to make those decisions and capitalize on that incremental volume. Or, as you mentioned, right, hey, we've got a new product that we need to open a new line for, that we don't want to make that capital investment. And that's where MSI comes into play, and we have the ability to look at existing solutions that we have in place. We've done a lot of things over the years, and so we've got solutions for a lot of different things, and that's what we pride ourselves on as well, is finding solutions to problems that our customers have, and bringing those to the table, and then executing against them.
I love it. I love it. So, MSI, I think, also has a really strong reputation in terms of customer relationships, something that, having been a brand customer at one point when I was at Mead Johnson Nutrition, I think there's just a ton of value there. What's the secret sauce? How do you build and maintain these relationships with your customers?
First and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, right, it's our people, top to bottom in the organization. Everybody's bought in on a similar message of, quick agility. It's what really the industry demands, but also, being customer centric, making sure that we have our finger on the pulse with what our customers needs and wants are, and making sure that we're able to not just react, but partner with them to be successful. Another piece that just ties back to that agility is, what we pride ourselves on times, what takes others sometimes months or years to do, takes us days and weeks. And I mean, we had a customer call us in a panic, as an example, earlier this March, and said, hey, we've got an issue, and we need you to be up and running, fully functional with brand new machinery in 8 weeks. And we were on the button 8 weeks to day one of production. And so, right, like I mentioned, it's the people, it's engineers, it's supply chain, it's operations, it's quality, it's the warehouse, it's our customers, our vendors, internal and external partners that all have allowed us to be successful. Right, some of the brands that we do represent are brands that go 60, 80, 100 years old, and we're trusted with those brands, and that when we have plants that are putting those products out, there's pride in doing those things. And so again, it really, the secret sauce for us, if I gave it all away, right, I'd be giving the house away, and I think I'd be out of a job here shortly. But a lot of it for us is the people, and then one thing I think that helps separates us as well is our commercialization process and the team that we have when we bring on a new customer or a new project with an existing customer. It's led by somebody who's done it for a very long time and understands what both sides of the table are looking for. And so, that I think we've heard recently and over the last couple of years that's been a differentiator for us. And that just ties back again to our people and the BD having our finger on the pulse, understanding our customers and making sure that our solutions are aligned with what they're looking for.
No, I love that, Chris, because we talk about that a lot internal to Nulogy as well, which is that we're purpose-built and we're fit for purpose. I would say MSI Express as a company is purpose-built as well, right? You understand your pedigree, you have really deep expertise in the markets that you support. And so when somebody comes to you and they need you to build something for them or bring a product to market, you understand what those steps are because you've done it repetitively, and you have all that knowledge in-house, which I think is just amazing. So okay, so I'm going to segue just a little bit here. So it's my belief that technology is really a critical enabler for supply chain success. And generally speaking, I would say, I think that you start with the people, you make sure you have the right processes, and then you get the right tools so that those people can run the process. And so here at Nulogy, we like to say that the extended supply chain, at least in the CPG kind of food and beverage space, much of it is powered by Nulogy, right? And we're really fortunate, I think, to have a great partner in MSI Express. So we, you know how it is. We come to you with questions, and we ask for you to advise us and tell us, really what's next so that we can stay ahead of your needs. So talk to me about the role that technology in particular plays at MSI in terms of your strategy and your success.
Yeah, I mean, again, it ties back a little bit to the last question as well with what's part of that secret sauce. And right, obviously the people drive it. Tech stack's a portion of it, as to your point on process and tech. And as you mentioned, Nulogy has been a long-standing partner. There's been a massive collaboration effort since I've been with the company, going on 4 years or so now, with Nulogy in particular, on continuing to tailor that platform and our partnership and what we need for, as I mentioned, what our customers are looking for. And so, our organization in general, we're a heavy data-driven organization, but the data tells one part of the story, right? The floor and the shop floor and the folks on the floor have the other part of that answer and the solution. So, right, the data is going to help drive continuous improvement efforts. It's going to help drive, custom customer reporting and or EDI, and some of the things we're doing with our customers on a direct customer portal for them to have access to specific data that they're looking for. Again, we've partnered with Nulogy in development of our the new scheduling module that came out a couple of years ago. And again, right, a lot of it is tailoring to the first thing that keeps me up at night, or the thing that keeps me up every night, is putting the tools and resources in place for our people to be successful. And if our people are successful, that means our customers are getting what they're looking for, because our people aren't having to answer questions over and over about, give me, I need this report or that report. And so, again, Nulogy's our shop floor platform. It's our core, the core of our tech stack, and it's allowed us to provide those answers in a very timely manner to our customers on specifically what they're looking for or what needs they have. And as tech continues to evolve, whether it's AI or ML or the different planning tools and options that are out there, you can go to any of the conferences throughout the course of a year and find 500 different solutions. But it's about finding the right one that's the right fit, right? And so and that's going to be the right partner for MSI and for what we're looking for, and ultimately really what our customers are looking for. And so we've done some things internally. We've partnered with Newlogy on a lot of solutions. Now the next steps are really identifying where AI and ML, how they fit. And we've been playing with a couple things behind the scenes to see what's next for us to do on the tech portion. But tech is tech allows our team. It's one of those tools that allows our teams to be successful, whether again it's our customer facing folks or our internal teams. The data is giving them some of the answers and leading them to where they need to spend some time, either through CI projects or giving our customers information that they're looking for. So it drives our days, but it's not, again, it's part of the answer. The answer is, for us, is a lot of it is on the floor, or a lot of it is spending time with our customers to get that understanding of how do we support them the right way.
Right. It's something that you hit on that I want to reinforce, because it's such a huge part of what brought me to Newlogy, and kind of just part of, I would say, my personal mission within supply chain is getting the market to really understand that your supply chain extends beyond your four walls, and your suppliers have to be successful in order for you to be successful. And so that, Newlogy, we're a multi-enterprise player, and, we do synchronization and orchestration. That really grew out of what we learned on the shop floor, because we were helping companies like MSI, and we were seeing, companies struggle to be like, well, the brand, like, I didn't know that they were changing their PO 4 times, like in 6 weeks, right? Like, and so it just, I think, is so critically important that we all work together to kind of move the industry forward, so that we're not relying on emails and spreadsheets and phone calls. Like, the technology exists for us to create vertical integration, right? So, I mean, I came into manufacturing at a time when a lot of companies were still vertically integrated. And there was a beauty to that in terms of agility and resilience. You could change things around really easily. And I think we got a little fat and sassy, over the years. And now I think we're to that point where the technology supports that type of thinking. So talk to me about what's next for MSI Express. How do you look to the future and continue to deliver value to your customers? And I would say continue to be the supplier of choice, because based on what I hear in the market, you 100% are a supplier of choice.
Yeah, and again, it's right. It's continuing to keep our finger on the pulse with our current customer base and continue to provide solutions to problems that we reach out to identify if those opportunities exist, or if they're bringing them to us. That's it's focusing on our current core business and core customer base and making sure that we're doing everything we can for them. And right, as I mentioned earlier, as we continue to, we're still always looking to grow. And so whether it's through acquisition, through identifying additional verticals that we may not play in today that we want to play in the future. We've made a heavy investment on the liquid side of the business. So as we continue to expand there, whether it's dressings or condiments, hydration, marinades, pouches, PET bottling, etc. Those are going to be things that we'll continue to do. And as I mentioned earlier, right, it's continue to go where the puck's going, not where it's been, and really, staying ahead of the curve. And, I think we've done a really good job over the last couple of years of playing in that emerging brand market. We've got some things that, on our floor, folks are excited to see that we're participating or producing some of these products in our facilities. And again, as I mentioned, there's pride when these folks go home and they know that they're seeing these things sell on a store shelf, or see them in the news or on CNN, or, hey, this is this booming product. And there's a pride that they know it's coming out of the MSI facility that they work in, or they may not work in that facility, but it could be somebody in Illinois knowing, hey, we're doing something in Texas or in Ohio. And so it's just, again, it's continue to utilize, in the tech portion, as I mentioned, right? Continue to look at AI ML solutions to partner, to your point, right? It's, trying to get that vertical integration across the entire, supply chain from a customer integration perspective. But really, it's continued collaboration with our customer base, continued, focus on acquisitions and growth, and continue to invest in capabilities, and then subsequently, just kind of tying a bow on it, continuing to invest in our people. It's right tools, resources, training, learning. It doesn't stop there. It's making sure that they're in a position to win as well.
Perfect. So I see that Mary has left us a comment, and she says, successful suppliers are suppliers who are willing to grow with customers and their technology-driven initiatives. And while I agree with most of that, Mary, I would tell you that from my perspective, having worked across multiple industries in supply chain, I think that CPG, food and beverage, the big brands, I would challenge that they could do a better job of bringing their suppliers like along the journey with them. I think automotive has really led the way there. And they have embraced their suppliers as part of their ecosystem. And, based on what I've seen, and I've been on both sides of that table, right? I was a brand, I was a supplier. I think they're a little more arm's length. So I'm hopeful that as time progresses, that that the brands will step up. I think we're seeing some things there, like the work that I know I do, and MSI is a big part of it, with the Foundations for Supply Chain Solutions, F4SS, which brings brands and the extended supply chain together. I think gives me a lot of hope that we can work together. But I'm not sure that we're doing a great job yet. So, but we appreciate the comment, Mary.
I would say, sorry, really quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Christine, but just to tie on, I think to your point, it's the onus right now is on us to bring that value proposition as to why it's important for those suppliers and the customers to, I'll use the term ecosystem, but to fill out that ecosystem and understand the across the board supply chain, and be a part of that solution.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you so much for being with us this morning. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Chris?
My LinkedIn page, which I think's been floating around and has been in the post, is the best way to get a hold of me. That would, email those, that gets checked pretty regularly. So awesome. If anybody has questions, reach out there.
Awesome. So for me, it's LinkedIn as well. You can also find the Nulogy team, and I actually think you can find Chris as well, coming up at ASCM Connect in Austin, Texas, the first full week, I guess, of September. You can also find us at PAC Expo in Chicago, or the Women in Supply Chain Forum in Atlanta, or if you're in Europe, I will be at UC's, and I would love to see you in Barcelona. You can also mark your calendars for next month, when my special guest is Adam Walker, CEO of Summit Solutions. We also have a really exciting webinar coming up with Mike Copeland from DHL's supply chain. So hopefully you figure out how to connect with us. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our show producer, Let's Talk Supply Chain, before we leave this morning, and encourage you to take a look at the wonderful work that they're doing to build up supply chain communities. If you are struggling to find a community of like-minded professionals where you can really level up, network, learn about best practices from experts, Look no further. Sarah and her team at Let's Talk Supply Chain have created the secret society of supply chain to provide a safe space. They offer unique opportunities for everyone to connect and grow. They have 3 communities: the supply chainers, the women in supply chain group, of which I am a part of, and the creative room. So do yourself a favor and head over to secretsocietyofsupplychain.com to explore which community was made for you. I also need to thank our show sponsor and my employer, Nulogy, an innovator in supply chain technology focused on decreasing the friction and, I would say, the fragility between suppliers and customers to everyone's benefit through collaboration and synchronization. On that note, I must say goodbye, that I'm hopeful that you'll tune in next month when Adam Walker is indeed my guest, and for what I am 100% confident will be an unfiltered conversation, and that we will empower you to better navigate the ever evolving landscape of supply chain. Have a great day.